Test. All right, it's working. Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm glad you can make it. We got a few people here in the front row. That's the way I like it. So my name is Daniel Dalala. So I'm a program manager on Dynamics 365 AI for sales. And today I wanted to talk about how we're going to supercharge your sales managers with AI. So why are we doing this? There's always these fundamental questions that you have to ask ourselves. If you think about Dynamics 365 customer engagement, well, this is really a system of records, a system of engagement, and it's doing a great job of it, of keeping track of your contacts, of your opportunities, of your leads, the activities that are going back and forth. It really has made sales representative a lot more efficient, a lot more productive. But if we really, truly want to go back to it, let me take this back. It's really empowered your salespeople. But now what we want to do is actually really superpower your salespeople. We actually want to superpower your organization. Okay, we want to take that system of records and transform it into a system of intelligence. And today I'm actually going to talk mostly about what we're going to do with taking a system of intelligence, but specifically for sales managers. Tomorrow, there's another session at about 9:30 where my colleague, Jason, is going to talk about how we're infusing AI specifically for salespeople. Now, again, getting back to why are we doing this? I think organizations have realized that those who are using data, those who are using analytics these days are the ones that are most successful. But the problem with this is that it's actually very hard to extract value from analytics. And the reason is that it takes a lot of skill set. Basically, you need to figure out, well, I have all this unstructured data. How do I organize it? How do I report it? How do I have data scientists come in and make sense of it and then share this information for all to see? And this is actually incredibly cumbersome, especially nowadays, with data being all around us. I think especially here at Microsoft, this is something that we keep saying. Like, data really is the new oil of this new digital economy, and it's important to leverage this data. And it's actually fairly hard. And we have a lot of tools to do this. Actually, if we think about in Dynamics 365, we have dashboards and reports directly in the application. So they really do give some level of information to sales managers to be able to understand where they should focus their time. But it's not enough. They actually need one layer deep. If you think of Power BI, well, Power BI is such a great platform. You can do so much with Power BI. But at the same time, you have to invest some time. You need some people who are knowledgeable about how to create reports, how to extract those reports and create the right visualizations. And for those who are incredibly advanced, well, you can actually take the data in Dynamics 365 and extract it into your own analytical service and actually run your queries on top of that. But that requires a level of knowledge that is really not common amongst our organizations. So when you get back to the salespeople, the sales managers, your operations team, what do? Well, in the end, they end up just using their old Excel files, downloading that data, running some pivot tables on top of it, and then sending that report, and then not even managing the versions. It's quick, it's easy, but it does not scale. There has to be a better way. So today I am going to introduce you Dynamics 365 AI for managers. So really, the idea behind this is really creating an experience specifically targeted at sales managers. And to be able to do that, we have to understand who these sales managers are. What is it? What are their takes? What is it that really motivates them? How are they incentivized? Well, at the end, we can summarize, all in all, a sales manager into a set of common tasks that all of them do. So one of them is, and the way that I like to put it is that they're wearing two hats. They got their business hat, because they're really in charge maybe of a territory, of a product, but they also got their people hat, because in the end, it's their sales team who's out there in the field making those sales. And so they want to make sure that these guys are successful for the manager to be successful. So some of the tasks that they can do are really to monitor their team, assigning quotas, providing the quarterly forecasts, identifying areas of improvements. especially in how you communicate with your customers, helping drive strategic initiatives, so specifically making sure that your sales rep are targeted towards the right behaviors, and also planning ahead for the future. So not only staying in the now, but figuring out how are we going to be successful in the future. So in a day-to-day, what does a sales manager do? And as I said before, the sales manager has a lot of questions. And a lot of these questions may not be as easy to answer right now. So some of these are, well, how are we tracking against our forecast? Who's the person who's been selling the most? What have they been doing that's been so successful? Why have we lost a couple of deals? Why have we won certain deals? Where are we selling most? You can get this data, but it usually requires a lot of activity, a lot of steps to be able to extract this information. Now, when we think about all these questions, I think that there's a way for us to actually organize these questions in terms of logical grouping. So if you are a sales manager, in our case, we like to call him Kevin. Well, if you're Kevin here, what you want to do first is focus. The first thing you get in the morning is try to identify, well, what it is that I need to work on today. Like, where should I invest my time? Who needs my help right now? The second thing now, it's a little bit more around the rhythm of the business. So around a specific period, whether it's monthly, quarterly, yearly, every organization has a specific rhythm. And so now you want to figure out, well, in that rhythm, how am I doing? Are we tracking against our goal? Are we not? Etc. Now, I can look at the past. The way that we see this is on my actual. So I'm asking myself these questions as a sales manager. Okay, we've already done some sales during this period. So where are the sales? Who are they coming from? Where are they coming from? Why have we not closed certain deals as well? The second thing I want to also do is look to the future. So I want to know, well, now that we've closed these deals, there's actually a couple of deals coming up in our pipeline. Now, where are those deals? And what's the risk on these deals? That's the most important thing. And are these deals actually going to help us meet our quotas? And finally, if we go even further, what's really generating this pipeline is really the leads that you have. So a question that, as a manager, that I would be asking our sales team and even our marketing team is, do we have enough leads in our pipeline to regenerate, in our system to regenerate our pipeline? And finally, let me put my team manager hat on. At this point now, okay, well, I'm a manager. I need to figure out also, how is my team doing, not at an aggregate level, but really at a granular level. How's everybody doing with the accounts that they've been assigned to? And finally, the business processes. So there's a lot of these questions, and it's possible for us to organize this. So in our release, what we're going to do is take these questions and create an experience for the sales manager to be able to answer these questions in a way that's intelligent, that's streamlined, and that's also incredibly that is visual, but also in an experience that's very action-driven. So it has to be possible for the sales manager not only to be able to get this information, get these insights, but also to take action so that the manager can change things. So I'm going to go into a little bit more details into some of the feature set, and then I'm going to go into a demo. So the way that we see it is we're going to have a home page. So the home page is really the first page that a manager comes to. On this page, the most important things is to be able to quickly and easily answer the top questions that most sales managers have. The second part of it is, okay, well, now that I'm able to answer these questions, I have that data in front of me. Well, now I also want to be able to do some analysis to understand where to focus my time. Okay? So this is where we'll have some visualization. And what's important is that with every visualization also has been specifically selected to answer one of these top questions. But at the same time, we want, like here at Microsoft, we're cognizant of the fact that within data and even within visualization, there's complexity. And we want to try to take that complexity away. So we want to add a layer of intelligence on top. And so what we're doing is adding some insights to be able to point you to what you should be looking at when you're looking at these visualizations. Another thing is that things are constantly moving, so we're going to have also a dynamic feed. So a dynamic feed is really about real-time data. So your sellers are constantly selling, so it's important for you to keep track of what they're selling, so you're able to congratulate them or help them in terms of needs. And finally, also take actions when that happens. So I'm going to go through a demo to show you this in practice. So the way that I look at it is this is also layered information. Now that you know where you want to focus your time, you want to really understand your data. So now you can go into some more reports and really try to slice and dice that information to understand it across the different categorization that I mentioned. So from the forecast to the actuals, the pipelines and leads, you truly want to dive into your data to understand where something is wrong or where something is right. Another thing is putting back my team hat on. I also want to dive from the angle of my sales team. So here I'm able to create leaderboards to understand who's been selling most, who's been the most active with regards to our customers across all different KPIs, and then finally create a scorecard to get a 360-degree view of my sales team so that I'm really informed when I go for a one-on-one with them. And finally, for all the questions that maybe we haven't answered, and we've really answered a lot, it's possible for you conversationally to talk to your data and ask questions of the data and extract the information that you require at that time. So let me go into a demo. All right. Nope. Sorry, let me give you 2 seconds. Slideshow. All right, perfect. So this is the application. Now that I'm a sales manager, I come in, this is the first time that I log in. As I said previously, we want to be able to answer those questions. So at the top here, I have all the key KPIs that I need to be able to answer as a sales manager, I need to be aware of. As we look a little bit lower on this end here, this is where, as a sales manager, again, I'm trying to understand, okay, where should I focus my time? And it seems in this particular case that out of this quota, with 313,000, we're actually not on track to meet it. And this leads to a question, why are we not on track? So what I would do here is, let's get an extra contextual. So let's get to the next level of information. And this is where I can see, well, what are our current numbers for the actuals that we sold, how well we've been doing versus historically, which is important, and understand where it is. And if I want to go to an even deeper level, I can actually go deeper into this report. Now, as I traverse here to the left side, as a sales manager, now I can see, okay, what's in my pipeline? And this is where we leverage our intelligence when it comes to our health scoring. So we're able to identify on every opportunity, identify a score that really determines the health of this opportunity with regards to the interactions that we've been having with our customers. So the more interactions usually increases the odds of selling. The less interactions usually doesn't. So as we're about to close these deals, if I see that there's some deals here that have low interactions, that probably means something negative. So as a manager, I want to see what's wrong. If I go here to the top right, now I'm looking at my leaderboard, knowing that we're probably not going to hit our quotas. We probably have some deals that are not doing very well. Let's see who here has been doing hasn't been doing well. Well, it seems like Eric. So it seems like Eric here in our team has not been meeting his quota and has been performing badly on his opportunities. So as a manager, again, I get a second level of information. Now I could see a really quick snapshot into their KPIs. I can also see the deals that they've been working on with the risk level, but I also get information about what's coming up with me and Eric in the next few weeks. So I realize that I do have a meeting with Eric scheduled for today. And also, it seems like, so we're also releasing some capabilities regarding call intelligence that I'm not going to get into today, but I'm able to understand that it seems like the calls that Eric has been having with his customers have not been going well in the last few months. Let's see how I can help him. So directly within context, I can click here, and I know that I know somebody on this opportunity that can help Eric. So I can leave a note so that we can follow up later. Now, when we're looking at the visualization at the top, this is really visualization that I would say doesn't change as often during a day-to-day, right? Because it's very at an aggregate level. But sales teams are consistently dynamic. Things are happening. Your sales teams are calling people, they're closing deals, they're losing deals, unfortunately. And as a manager, you always need to be aware of. And so here we have a live feed that pops this information, intelligently bubbles up the most important ones of these insights, so that you as a sales manager remain informed about what you should do next. So as an example, in this particular case, I realized that Ryan won a deal that he wasn't supposed to win, because we've been able to analyze that this is not the type of deal that we usually win, but he was able to do so. So I, as a sales manager, I would send them a congrats. Or maybe in another deal, we have an opportunity that was lost. And maybe they've lost an opportunity that they were supposed to win. Well, that's really curious. I would try to understand and send a message to figure out what happened. The second thing is again, if I put my team manager hat on, I need to constantly have one-on-one meetings with my sales team. So it's important to bubble up these meetings and show them in the context of the sales manager experience, so that when I'm being ready to go for these one-on-one discussions, I could look at the insights here that are provided and be aware of what I need to talk about with Eric or with Kylie in this case. And finally here, we also, as a manager, you also have to be aware of the industry you're in, your customers, your account. What are the latest news? What happened? So that when you do get involved in these deals, you're armed with the most information possible to be able to turn things around. And finally, one last thing. So as I was mentioning before, after I'm done with this high level information, this is where I want to dive a little bit deeper. And this is where we have reports that were specifically selected to be able to provide the most insights out of your team. Now let me switch back. So this is the sales manager experience that we'll be releasing in public preview in the next few months. So it's an experience specifically powered by AI. We really see that there's a lot of value of being very proactive with our sales manager. I think it's a persona that has been at times left with their needs left unmet, and we're going to release this experience specifically for them to make them successful and make sure that they're informed when they're making decisions. I would highly encourage you, especially tomorrow morning, to go visit. There's going to be another theater session, I'm not sure exactly where, that discuss the same experiences, but for salespeople, to see how we help salespeople and really superpower them. But also, I would encourage you to visit a session tomorrow, September 25th, at 11:30, that really gives a high-level overview of how we're using AI, not just in sales, but on services and market, etc. So that's it for all I have for you. If you have any questions, comments, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you. Thank you. So this will be in public preview in the next in our upcoming release, targeted around November. All right, that's it. Let's go drink.